The Grand Hall of Aurelian was built to silence people. Its ceiling was so high it faded into shadow. Its floor shone like dark glass. Tall banners hung without moving. Even though air flowed through the hall, hundreds of beings from different worlds stood in long rows, careful not to cross the glowing lines on the floor. At the center sat the queen. She did not speak. She did not move. She did not need to. Everyone could feel her. No one sat within 10 steps of her throne. Those seats were empty by law and by fear. Even the highest nobles stood far away. Guards lined the walls, their weapons power but untouched. They knew better than to point anything toward the queen. The hall waited. Then the doors opened. The sound was small, but it cut through the silence like a blade. A human stepped inside. He was late. His name did not matter yet. He wore a plain uniform, dark and simple, with no rank marks that anyone could see. His boots echoed as he walked, slow and unsure. He stopped just inside the doors and looked around. Every eye turned toward him. The human felt it at once. The weight, the pressure. It was like walking into deep water. He swallowed and took a breath. No one spoke. No guide stepped forward. No signs lit up to help him. He was alone. He moved down the aisle, trying not to look nervous. He saw the rows of standing delegates. He saw empty seats ahead, and assumed they were free. His thoughts were simple. Find a seat. Sit. Be quiet. That was all. He reached the front rows and paused. The nearest seat was open, clean, untouched. He did not see the invisible line on the floor. He did not know its meaning. He sat down. The sound of fabric on crystal rang louder than thunder. Across the hall, someone gasped. Another dropped to one knee. A noble's crest light flickered and died. Guards stiffened, hands shaking but frozen in place. The human frowned. He felt it then, a change in the air. Warmth. Not heat, but something deeper. Like standing near a quiet fire. Slowly, he turned his head. The queen was looking at him. Her eyes were not angry. That was worse. They were ancient, deep. They held stars and storms and long memory. Her crown rested lightly on her head, thin and dark, shaped like a circle that never closed. No one had sat beside her in over 1,000 years. The human stood up at once. Sorry, he said quickly. I didn't know. A hand closed around his wrist. It was gentle, firm, unavoidable. The queen had reached out and taken him. The hall stopped breathing. The human froze. His heart pounded. He did not pull away. He could not. The queen's hand was warm, steady and calm. Not weak, not strong. Balanced. Don't get up, she said. Her voice was soft, but it filled the hall. Stay here. She did not look at the others. She looked only at him. The human slowly sat back down. A low hum began to rise. At first it sounded like the hall itself was waking. Lights along the walls flickered. Symbols carved into the floor glowed faintly, then brighter. An elder stepped forward, shaking. Your Majesty, he said, his voice thin. This is not permitted. The queen did not answer him. Her gaze remained on the human. You are cold, she said. I'm fine, the human replied without thinking. Then he paused. I mean, yes, maybe a little. Her fingers tightened just a little, as it pleased. The crown on her head pulsed once. Several elders fell to their knees. The human looked around, confused. Did I do something wrong? No one answered him. The queen finally turned her head toward the council. Her eyes hardened. The warmth vanished from the room, replaced by pressure so heavy it bent light. The law you fear, she said calmly, was written for this moment. Murmurs spread, sharp and afraid. That law was erased. An elder said, by your ancestors. Yes, the queen replied, because they were afraid. She looked back at the human. And so were you, she added gently. The human blinked. I still am, he said honestly. Something like a smile touched her lips. The crown glowed brighter. A guard's weapon sparked and shut down. Another fell from his hands, dead and useless. Across the hall, systems fell one by one, as if bowing. The queen stood. She did not let go of the human's hand. When she rose, the hall responded. The floor light shifted. The banners trembled. The air hummed like a living thing. "This session is sealed," she said. The doors slammed shut on their own. No alarm sounded. No alerts went out. Outside the hall, the Empire went blind. Inside, the human felt his fear fade, replaced by something he could not name. Not power. Not pride. Belonging. The Queen leaned closer and spoke so only he could hear. "You did not choose that seat," she said. "The seat chose you." The human swallowed. "What does that mean?" She looked at him, truly looked, as if seeing something long lost. "It means," she said, "that history has found its voice again." The crown flared with light, and for the first time in centuries, the Empire remembered what humans were meant to be. No one moved. The Grand Hall of Aurelian remained sealed, its massive doors locked by power older than machines. Outside, alarms tried to scream, but no signal escaped. Inside, silence ruled. The human sat beside the Queen, his hand still in hers. He could feel her calm passing into him, slow and steady, like a deep breath shared between two beings. His fear did not vanish, but it stopped growing. That alone felt strange. Across the hall, elders knelt, not by order, by instinct. They remembered now. One elder, his skin pale with age and light, lifted his head with shaking effort. His voice trembled as he spoke. "The crown is awake." A ripple moved to the gathered delegates. Some looked confused. Others looked terrified. "The crown never sleeps," another whispered. "It does when it has no anchor," the first elder replied. The word anchor echoed through the hall like a warning bell. The human frowned. "Anchor?" he asked quietly. The Queen did not answer right away. Her eyes were on the elders now, sharp and focused. "Tell them," she said. The first elder hesitated. His long fingers curled into floor. "The truth was buried," he said, "because it frightened us." "Tell them anyway," the Queen replied. The elder swallowed. "Long ago," he began, "before the Empire stretched across stars, our rulers were not alone. They ruled with humans." Murmurs spread again, louder this time. Humans were not powerful, the elder continued. They had no great weapons, no long lives, no psychic sight, but they had something else. He looked at the human sitting beside the Queen. "They balanced us." The human shifted in his seat. "I don't understand," he said. "I didn't do anything." "That," the Queen said softly, "is exactly what you did." Her fingers remained around his wrist. The contact was no longer shocking. It felt right, in a way he could not explain. Royal power, the elder said, was never meant to stand alone. It burns too hot. Without balance, it turns rulers into tyrants or monsters. Another elder spoke, her voice tight. Humans grounded the crown. They reminded us of limits, of empathy, of choice. And when humans disappeared, the Queen asked. The elder lowered her head. We became afraid of ourselves. The hole grew heavy again. The human looked down at his hands. They looked the same as always. No light, no glow, just human skin. "So why me?" he asked. The Queen finally turned fully toward him. "Because you sat," she said simply. He blinked. Anyone could have sat there. "No," she replied. "Many passed that seat. Many felt the pull. Every one of them stepped away." She leaned closer. "You did not." Before he could reply, a sharp sound cut through the hole. A crack. One of the outer wall panels split, sparks flying. A guard cried out as his armor locked up and dropped him to the floor. The elders stiffened. "They feel it," one whispered. "The houses, the rivals." "Of course they do," the Queen said calmly. "The crown has a heartbeat again." The human's pulse sped up. "You mean this is dangerous?" "Yes," she answered without hesitation. "For them." Another crack echoed. The whole shields flared bright blue, then faded. "They are testing the seal," an elder said. "Assassins, perhaps." The human's shoulders tightened. "Then let me move," he said. "If I'm the problem." The queen's grip tightened. "No," she said. Her voice was no longer soft. "You are the solution." She stood again. The lights dimmed, then focused inward, like the hole itself was listening. "For centuries," the queen said, her voice carrying to every corner, "we ruled half-blind, afraid of our own strength. We erased history and called it peace." She looked at the elders. "You allowed it." None denied it. She looked back at the human. And now history has returned, wearing simple boots in confusion. A faint smile touched her face. The human exhaled slowly. "I really just wanted a seat." A few delegates stared at him in shock. Then, softly, someone laughed. It was short, nervous, but real. The queen's eyes softened again. Outside the hole, the first true attack came. The shields flared hard as a focused strike slammed into them. The impact shook the floor. Several delegates cried out. The human instinctively leaned forward. "Stay," the queen said, calm as stone. She raised her free hand. The crown pulsed. Not violently, not loudly. The attack stopped. Outside, ships lost power. Weapons shut down mid-charge. Pilots screamed as their systems went dark. Inside the hole, the elders stared in awe. "She hasn't done that in centuries," one whispered. The human swallowed. Did I help with that?" The queen looked at him. "Yes," she said, "by being here." The doors remained sealed. The hole remained silent. But across the empire, a message spread without words. The queen was no longer alone. The human looked up at her, fear and wonder mixing in his eyes. "What happens now?" he asked. The queen did not answer right away. She looked toward the doors, toward the stars beyond. "Now," she said slowly, "it will try harder." Her grip on his hand remained steady. "And so will we." The grand hall was no longer silent. It was listening. The human could feel it now. The floor beneath his boots, the air against his skin, the slow pulse moving through the walls. Everything felt aware, as if the hole itself knew he was there. The queen released his wrist for the first time. The human felt the loss at once. Not pain, just absence. Like stepping away from a warm light. "Do not move," she said calmly. He nodded. "I won't." She turned toward the elders, her long cloak whispering across the floor. The crown dimmed slightly but did not sleep. It watched. "You will speak the full truth," the queen said. "Not the safe parts. Not the edited version." The elders exchanged looks. Fear passed between them like a shared disease. One of the oldest elders stepped forward. His voice was steady, but his hands shook. The law was called a bond of balance, he said. The words hit the hole hard. Several nobles gasped. Others looked confused. Younger delegates had never heard the name. It existed before the empire, the elder continued. Before the throne, before the crown took form. The human listened carefully. He did not interrupt. The bond stated that no ruler could govern alone, the elder said. Power required a counterweight, someone who could stand close without being consumed. The queen's eyes flicked briefly toward the human. That counterweight, the elder said, was human. The hole filled with whispers. Humans had short lives, another elder added. They questioned everything. They felt doubt, guilt, mercy. She paused. They reminded us we were not gods. The human frowned. So, you used us? No, the queen said sharply. We partnered. Her tone ended the whispers at once. The bond was mutual, she continued. Humans were protected, honored, never owned. The elders lowered their heads. Until fear took root, the first elder said quietly. The human felt a tightness in his chest. What kind of fear? The elder met his eyes. That one day, he said, a human might say no. Silence returned, thick and heavy. They said humans were weak. Another elder admitted that the bond limited us, that without humans, the crown would be absolute. And you believed them, the queen said. We wanted safety, the elder replied. Control. The crown pulsed once. Not bright, not violent. Disappointed. The bond was erased. The elder continued. Rekka was destroyed. Bloodline scattered. Humans were pushed out, slowly. The human felt anger rise in him, sharp and sudden. You erased us, he said quietly, because we made you uncomfortable. Yes, the elder replied. The honesty surprised him. A low sound echoed through the hall, not from the crown, from the walls. Your Majesty, a guard said urgently, stepping forward. External forces are reorganizing. Multiple houses, military-level assets. They are forming a coalition, another added, against the hall. The human's stomach tightened. Because of me? The queen turned toward him. Because of us, she corrected. She walked closer, stopping just in front of him. For the first time, she knelt so they were eye to eye. You feel it, don't you? She asked. He hesitated, then nodded. Yeah, like, I belong somewhere I've never been. Her eyes softened. That is the bond waking, she said. It does not command you. It invites you. Outside, another strike hit the shields. Stronger this time. The hall shook. Lights flickered. Your Majesty, an elder said urgently, if the houses unite, they will fail, the queen said calmly. The human looked at her. You're sure? She smiled slightly. Because they misunderstand. Another impact struck. Cracks of light ran through the shields, then healed. They think the bond gives me more power, she continued. They are wrong. She placed his hand over her chest, just below the crown's glow. It gives me restraint. The human felt it then. Not power flowing into him, but power slowing down, calming, settling. The crown dimmed further, becoming steady instead of bright. Outside, weapons began to misfire. They built their fleets to fight a tyrant, the queen said, not a ruler who listens. The elders watched in awe as reports came in. Systems failing, attacks losing focus, ships retreating in confusion. Their aggression has no anchor, one guard whispered. It's collapsing. The human pulled his hand back slowly. So what am I supposed to do? The queen stood. You will do what humans have always done, she said. She turned to face the hall, then looked back at him. You will remind us who we are. The crown pulsed again, soft, controlled, alive. The doors of the hall did not open. But outside, across the empire, something far more dangerous than fear began to spread. Hope. The human took a slow breath. Then, he said, standing straighter, let's not mess this up. The queen looked at him. This time, she smiled without restraint. The first explosion hit without warning, not inside the grand hall, but close enough to be felt. The floor shuddered. A deep shockwave rolled through the walls, knocking several delegates off balance. Lights flared red, then settled into a low amber glow. They've breached the outer ring, a guard shouted. The human's heart jumped. His instinct screamed at him to move, to run, to do something. He took one step forward. Stay, the queen said, her voice calm but absolute. He stopped. Another impact followed, stronger than the first. This one cracked the air itself. The shields above the hall flashed bright white, then dimmed. They're using phase weapons, an elder said in disbelief. Those were banned. They never care for laws, the queen replied. She lifted one hand. The crown responded, glowing brighter than before, but not wildly. Controlled, focused. The human watched closely. He expected heat, noise, power. Instead, he felt quiet. The hum in the hall deepened, steady and slow, like a heart finding its rhythm. Outside, the attackers advanced. Inside, the queen turned to the human. Do you trust me? She asked. He did not answer right away. He thought of the fear in the elder's eyes, the way the crown had reacted to him, the way the hall itself seemed to breathe when she stood near him. Yes, he said finally. I do. She nodded once. Then stand with me. He stepped forward and moved to her side. Gasps filled the hall. No human has ever stood there, an elder whispered. The queen did not correct him. Another blast struck the shields. This one punched through. The air screamed as a tear opened near the far wall. Smoke and light poured in. Through it came armored figures, tall, sharp-edged, moving with deadly purpose. Assassins, weapons raised. No hesitation. The guards reacted too late. The human moved without thinking. He stepped in front of the queen. Several elders cried out. "Stop!" one shouted. "He's unprotected." The assassins fired. The human braced himself. Nothing hit him. The shots curved, bending away at the last second, dissolving into harmless sparks before reaching his skin. The hall went completely silent. The human looked down at himself, shocked. His hands shook. "I didn't." "You didn't need to," the queen said calmly behind him. She placed one hand on his back. The crown pulsed, not outward, inward. The assassins staggered. Their movement slowed. Confusion spread across their helmets. What is happening?" one of them shouted. Their weapons shut down. Armor systems failed. One by one, they dropped to their knees, not by force, but by loss of will. The human turned slowly, staring. "They're not hurt," he said. "No," the queen replied. "They are confronted." The assassin's leader tore off his helmet, gasping. Fear filled his eyes. "We cannot focus," he said. "It's like the rage is gone." The queen stepped past the human and faced them. "You came prepared to kill a monster," she said. "You found a ruler instead." She raised her hand slightly. "Leave," she said. The assassins did not argue. They fled through the breach, dragging each other, desperate to escape. The tear in the wall sealed itself. The shield stabilized. Inside the hole, no one spoke. Then an elder fell to his knees. Another followed. Soon, the entire hole bowed. The human stood there, breathing hard, his heart still racing. "I didn't fight," he said quietly. "I didn't do anything." The queen turned to him. "You stood," she said. "That was enough." Guards rushed forward, checking systems, securing the hole. Reports came in fast. Enemy forces are retreating. They are in full disorder. They are calling it off. The human looked at the queen, still trying to understand. "So this is what the bond does." She nodded. "It turns raw power into purpose." She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "You remind me that strength does not need cruelty." He swallowed. "I'm just me." Her eyes softened. "That," she said, "is why it works." The crown dimmed again, resting. The hole felt warmer now, safer. But outside, the Empire was already changing its mind. The attack had failed, not because of force, but because a human stood where no one dared to sit. The queen returned to her throne and extended her hand toward him once more. "Stay," she said. He took her hand, and across the stars, those who watched began to understand something terrifying. The human was not a weakness. He was a difference. The Grand Hall did not return to normal after the attack. It could not. The shields were stable. The walls were whole. The guards stood ready. But something unseen had shifted. The air felt lighter, yet heavier with meaning. The human still stood beside the queen. News arrived in quiet bursts. Houses pulling back fleets. Military channels going silent. Panic spreading through those who had believed the queen alone was dangerous. She should release him, a noble whispered from a far side of the hall. "This is not proper." The queen heard him. She turned her head slowly. "Proper?" she asked. The word fell flat. "You fear what you do not control," she continued. "That fear is why the bond was erased." The human shifted slightly. Every movement he made drew attention now. He could feel eyes on him from every direction. "I don't want to cause trouble," he said quietly. "You are not causing it," the queen replied. "You are revealing it." An elder stepped forward, his voice careful. "Your Majesty, the bond was never meant to be permanent." The queen looked at him. Neither was a throne. The hole stiffened. "The human must be allowed to leave," another elder said, "for stability." The queen turned back to the human. "Do you wish to leave?" The question was simple. The weight was not. He took a slow breath. Images flashed through his mind. His small quarters, his quiet work, a life where no one looked at him twice. Then he looked at the queen. "I don't know," he admitted, "but I know something feels wrong when I step away." The crown responded with a faint glow. Several elders flinched. "The bond is strengthening," one whispered. "If this continues." "Yes," the queen said. "It will." She faced the hole. "For centuries, I ruled carefully," she said. "I limited myself. I hid the crown's reach. I listened only to Faye." She placed her hand over her chest. "Now, with him here, I hear something else." "Hope?" the human said before he could stop himself. The queen's eyes met his. "Yes," she said. Outside the hole, protests began. Not riots. Questions. Demands for answers. Systems across the empire sensed the shift and reacted. "They are asking who he is," a guard reported. "What he represents." The human frowned. "I don't represent anything." The queen smiled faintly. "You represent choice." She stepped closer to him. The distance between them was small now, intentional. "I will not force you," she said quietly. "The bond cannot exist without consent." The hole held its breath. "But if you stay," she continued, "you will change everything." He looked around at the bowed elders, the frightened nobles, the silent gods. "What happens if I say no?" he asked. The queen did not hide the truth. "Then the crown will dim again," she said, "and the empire will return to Faye." The human closed his eyes for a moment. He thought of the assassins, stripped of rage, the power that did not destroy, but restrained. "I don't want power," he said. "That is why you should have it," the queen replied gently. A long silence followed. Finally, he nodded. "I'll stay," he said, "for now." The crown flared, bright, warm, alive. A wave passed through the hole. Systems stabilized. Energy flows balanced. The queen's posture straightened, lighter and stronger at once. An elder dropped to one knee. "The bond is acknowledged," he said. The queen raised a hand. "Not yet." She looked at the human. "You are not bound," she said. "You are invited." The human met her gaze. "Then invite me properly." A hint of surprise crossed her face. Then she smiled. "Very well," she said. She turned to the hole. "From this moment," the queen declared, "this human stands as my chosen anchor. Not servant, not subject." The words rang out. "Partner." Shock swept through the hole. The human felt the weight of it settle on him, not crushing, but real. Outside, across the empire, a single truth became clear. The queen had chosen, and she could not release him, because she did not want to. The trial was called before anyone could stop it. Ancient law demanded it. When the queen named a partner, the empire had the right to challenge the choice, not to deny it, but to test it. The rule was old, older than the erased laws, older even than the crown. The grand hall transformed. The banners shifted color. The floor symbols rearranged themselves into a wide circle. At its center stood two places. One was a throne. The other was empty. The human stood at the edge of the circle, unsure if the space was meant for him. "It is," the queen said, sensing his hesitation. He stepped forward. The moment his foot crossed the circle, the crown pulsed sharply. The hall responded, sealing every exit. "This trial is not about strength," an elder announced. "It is about worth." The human swallowed. "That's good." Some nobles scoffed. "You may speak freely," the elder continued. "You may refuse questions. You may leave at any time." The queen looked at him. "You won't be punished for honesty." He nodded. "Then I'll try to be useful." A ripple of quiet laughter passed through a few delegates. The first challenger stepped forward, a noble from a powerful house, tall and bright-eyed. "You claim no desire for power," the noble said. "Yet power bends around you. Why should we trust you?" The human thought for a moment. "You shouldn't," he said. "Not yet." Gasps filled the hall. "You should watch me instead," he continued. "If I start acting like I deserve this, you should stop me." The crown dimmed slightly, as if listening closely. The noble stepped back, unsettled. The second challenger was an elder. "What will you do?" she asked. "When the queen is wrong." The human answered without hesitation. "I'll tell her." The hall stiffened. The elder's eyes narrowed. "Even if it costs you everything?" He nodded. "Especially then." The crown pulsed, steady, approving. Murmurs spread, some angry, some thoughtful. The final challenge came from the military. "If war returns," a commander said, "and the empire demands destruction, what will you choose?" The human looked at the queen. She met his gaze, calm and open. "I'll choose restraint first," he said, "and force only if there's no other way." The commander studied him, then bowed his head. The circle glowed brighter. The elder raised the staff. "The trial is complete," he said. "The bond stands unbroken." The hall erupted, not in cheers, but in something deeper. Relief. The queen stepped forward and extended her hand. The human took it. The crown flared not wildly, but fully. "By ancient right," the elder declared, "the human is recognized." The queen leaned closer and spoke softly. "You stood when tested," she said, "just as you did that first day." He smiled, tired but steady. "I guess I'm good at standing in the wrong place." She smiled back. "No," she replied, "in the right one." Outside the hall, the empire waited, and for the first time in generations, it did not fear the throne. The doors of the grand hall opened at last. Light from 1,000 stars poured in. Messengers rushed outward. Signals spread across the empire, no longer blocked, no longer hidden. The trial was over. The bond stood. The queen rose from her throne and did something no ruler had done in centuries. She stepped down. The hall fell silent again, not from fear, but from awe. She stood beside the human, not above him. "Let the empire see," she said. The human's pulse quickened. "See what?" "Us," she replied. They walked forward together to the edge of the hall, where the great viewing platform opened to space. The stars burned bright beyond the shields. Across the empire, screens activated. Every world, every station. The queen spoke. "For generations," she said, "we ruled through distance, through silence, through control." Her voice was steady, clear, human in its warmth. "That era's over." She placed a hand on the human's shoulder. "This human is not my weakness," she continued. "He is my balance." The crown glowed, soft, steady, alive. Murmurs spread across worlds. The human stepped forward before he could second-guess himself. "I didn't come here to rule," he said. "I came because I was told to sit down." A few nervous laughs rippled through the feeds. "I don't know all your laws," he continued. "I don't know your fears. But I know this. Power without listening breaks things." The queen looked at him with quiet pride. "We will rule together," she said, "not as God and subject, but as partners." The crown responded. The throne behind them shifted. It changed shape, widening, lowering, reshaping itself into something new. A shared seat. The elders gasped. The human stared. "Is it supposed to do that?" The queen smiled. "It always could." They sat, not above the galaxy. With it, across the stars, reactions poured in. Fear, anger, confusion, hope. But the empire did not fracture. It steadied. Ships powered down. Borders softened. Old enemies paused, uncertain how to fight a ruler who listened. The human looked out at the galaxy, then back at the queen. "So what now?" She considered the question carefully. "Now," she said, "we rebuild what fear erased." The crown dimmed, resting. The hall breathed. History shifted. And across the galaxy, a simple truth took root. The most powerful throne was not the one that ruled alone. It was the one that chose to share.